How do you want to be remembered? It's just a fantastic question. As you think about your life, as you continue to go down this road that you have, and we would really answer that question with a word that we hear often, but we really don't probably give a lot of thought to. It's the word legacy. If you listened to our book review yesterday, you know I reviewed the book Legacy, written by James Kerr, which is about the All Blacks, which is a team, a rugby team over in New Zealand, one of the most winning franchises in really sports history. For over 100 years, they've won a really high percentage of their games. It's been just dominant dynasty, and they've got this great little book that Kerr wrote about their thing that really I think's got some stuff to teach us here as we keep chasing greatness. So welcome to the podcast. I'm glad you're here with us today. I think this is going to be a great episode as we talk about winning at life. There's some things in this book about building a team and winning at an organizational level, but I think they really do apply to winning at life as well. So I want us to dive into some of these concepts here, and I think they really will help us as we go through these few moments together. But more importantly, as we go into our next few weeks, what are we doing to not just be great, but to help other people be great? So really some great questions here. Well, the book starts out with a story about a game that they had played against Wales, and they had won the game 42-7. And Kerr paints the picture here. I mean, imagine this. There's 35,000 people in the stands. They're chanting blacks, blacks, blacks. And the players are getting ready for the game. They're in the locker room. They can hear the chants, and they go out onto the field and they dominate this game. And one of the players in particular is just heroic in the way he plays. He becomes, he breaks some records. He gets on his way to becoming the best player they'd ever had. I mean, there's some crazy stuff. And he goes back into the locker room. All the team does. They've won this game. They've dominated. And there's reporters, it says, and there's politicians. And you could picture almost the Super Bowl is over. Just a few weeks ago, we had our U.S. Super Bowl, and there were fathers who had credentials that got to come into the room. They brought their sons, to come and be around the players, and all these journalists and media people are there. And there's in the same way it says in this book that the champagne is flowing. It's a great day in New Zealand to be an All Black and be around this team. And the stars are in our culture, they would be celebrities. And so everybody clears out of the locker room, the story goes, and once that's over, they have a team meeting, and the coaches debrief some stuff. Every time we perform, we ought to come back and debrief that. That's really important. And then it's so fascinating what happens when this team meeting begins to break up. Everybody's gone. Everybody's home watching, highlights and video, and little kids are out in the yard dreaming about playing for the All Blacks. And then something remarkable happens. The two captains of the team, they stand up and they pick up a broom, a push broom, and they begin to sweep the sheds. It's the second chapter in here. It talks about this idea of sweeping the sheds. And I love this example that they set for the other players on the team. And then it says that they all began to get up and follow their leaders, and they clean their own locker room. They basically, they just turn into janitors instead of celebrities. Now, I've been recently listening to all this mess about these quarterbacks. Are they coming back? Are they switching teams? Are they doing all this? All these diva mindsets, personalities. It's just crazy when you compare it to these men on this team who understood that character was really, it was on the leader to demonstrate that first. We always say people always watch the leader, and the leader's voice really is the loudest voice. And sometimes your actions speak louder than your voice. And so to model for others what they should follow, pretty powerful when you think about it. I love that. I love that idea. And so how are you doing at helping other people be great or modeling for others what greatness looks like? We say on the podcast here that chasing greatness is not just trying to reach your potential, but it really is trying to like an offensive lineman, make a hole so somebody else can score, model the right behavior, the right values, the right things. I mean, I think that's just so powerful when we look at it. And so as I'm reading this and thinking through this, it's causing me to think about some of the leaders that I'm around and some of the, not just my own life. I'm thinking about myself as well. Like, how can I model more what others should follow, and really what is valuable to me? Those kind of thoughts are really good. Well, they have this little section in here that talks about 4 stages for organizational change, and I won't take you through the whole thing, but I will mention these 4 stages because I think they will help you if you're not where you want to be when it comes to modeling the right behavior. If you're trying to draw a crowd around yourself, or you're trying to impress people in your family or your neighborhood or your workplace, wherever you are, on social media, if you've got this mindset of I'm trying to look good rather than do good or be good, I think this can help you. It says the first thing we need to do is we need to make a case for change. Honestly, if your values don't match your behavior right now, if you say one thing and you do something else and you know there's a gap there, you've already made your case. If you've admitted to yourself, there's something I want and I'm not doing that, or there's something I believe and I'm not living like it's true. Our values really do drive our behavior, but sometimes our behavior is incongruent with what we really value. We say one thing and we do something else, and we see this happen all the time. And so I think this case for change, you're not going to be happy, you're not going to be satisfied, you're not going to win at life if you really do believe one thing and then your behavior is something else. Let's say you believe that exercise is important, and then you never go out the door and you never do any exercise. Then there's an incongruence there, and you're going to feel the emotional weight of knowing you say one thing and believe it, but really you don't do anything about it. That's hard. So you right there, you have your case for change. The second thing they say, we need a compelling picture of the future. Can you envision yourself? Let's take our exercise as an example here. Can you envision yourself being fit? If you can't, you're going to have a hard time being fit. But if you can even envision yourself making some progress, being a little more fit. You don't have to be, a shredded or anything. That's not going to probably happen. But if you can if you can have in your mind a compelling picture of what the future could look like, and honestly, I think the other side, they don't talk about this, but I think the other side of that, what does the future look like if you don't do something about whatever this area is that you've got this compelling case for change? What if you don't do anything? What's the future look like there? I mean, you're going to forfeit a decade of your life? Are you going to give up, the quality of the last 20 years of your life? I've seen this happen over and over. And so I think this compelling picture of the future, I've got a couple of grandkids on the way here in the next couple of weeks, a couple different daughters, not twins. Everybody's like, are you having twins? Like, I'm not having anything. We got kids that are having kids. So, but I'm going to look forward to a couple more grandchildren. We already have one. We got a couple more coming. And I want to be able to run around with them. And just last week, I've got one of them out in the yard, the one we have, where he's 17 months old. I'm riding him around in the wheelbarrow. And it's a lot of fun. And he's looking at this thing like, dude, this is a lot cooler than my little wagon I have at my house. And so I want Grandpa's place, Randad actually. But I say Randad, he calls me Rah-Rah. So I'm going to be the cheerleader for all of them. He's changed my name already. I'm going with that. But my picture for the future is being able to run around with these little guys and to hang out with them and to fish with them and to play ball with them and to read books with them and to understand how they think and what they're up against. I mean, they're up against so much harder stuff. And so I've got a compelling picture for that. And I'm going to have to do some things. And that's the third thing, a sustained capability to change. There's some areas in my life where I have control over. And you do too. As you think about your life and maybe the areas where you say one thing and you got something else going on, and you do have the capability to be fit. If we go back to our fitness example, there are many people on the planet who are fit, but they don't just sit around. They move. They do something. And so let's say it's a relational area that you're struggling with, or maybe it's a financial area. It doesn't have to be fitness. I mean, it can be any area where we say something and like it's not being lived out. We need to picture the future with or without that, and then we need to have sustained capability to change. And then finally, they say a credible plan to execute. And I like that idea of having really some action in place, some things that we can actually do we say hope is not a strategy. I mean, it's great to have a hope in your life, but hope is really not a strategy for high performance. It's not a strategy for winning at life. I hope I win at life, but that's not going to make me win at life. What's going to make me win at life is taking steps toward high performance. It's you practice your way, you believe and behave your way to high performance. I guess I would say it that way. And so if you have some areas in your life right now where you feel like you're not winning, I'm just guessing here as we wind this week down, you got a couple of places where you say, I need to do better here. I want to do better. I believe I can do better. I've done better in the past. Somebody else is doing better. Sometimes we talk about it all the time. It's not good to compare yourself to other people, but sometimes it's good to see, hey, somebody else is winning here. And there's some things they're doing that actually are totally within my control. And I have the opportunity to commit to some of those things myself. And so to pick that area, to recognize the gap, to admit that to yourself, to put in place a visual picture of, we'll just call it a vision of what could be, or a vision of what will be if we don't do anything. I think that's really powerful. It's helping me to think about my life, not just as a grandfather in many areas, and I'm hoping it'll help you as well. And then I've got to have a plan to change, and then I got to take a step. I don't have to take all the steps today. I don't have to take all the steps next week. I just need to take one step. And if I take a step every day, honestly, I think I'll be on my way to leaving a better legacy than I will if I just sit around and hope things get better. That's not going to happen. So I wanted to share this with you this week. I think this is really important for us. We have a chance. We will leave a legacy. Our legacy is either going to be one of mediocrity, one of waste, one of we didn't do the best we could, we had opportunity, we squandered it, or it's going to be one of greatness. People are going to look at your life and go, she did the very best she could, or she was always inspiring me, or he was always motivating and energized, and it seemed like he was always accomplishing something. And even beyond that, the fact that it's rooted in character, you have this servant leadership mindset, just sweep the sheds mindset. You're not above doing any of the dirty work and handling your own life. I think that's pretty amazing to have that mindset. Let me read you one more little section here. It says, while the country, I mentioned this a moment ago, while the country is still watching replays, school kids lying in bed, All Black story, the All Blacks themselves are tidying up after themselves. And here's what he says: sweeping the sheds, doing it properly so no one else has to, because no one looks after the All Blacks. The All Blacks look after themselves. This is about self-leadership, what we're talking about here. So what are you going to do to take care of you, to make sure that you've got the capacity to be able to help other people? If you'll do that, you'll not only benefit those other people, I think you'll be proud of yourself and the legacy that you'll lead. So let's keep chasing greatness. I'm guessing you know somebody right now who may have a need to hear this. Maybe there's a gap in what they're saying and what they're doing, or they're struggling. They need to have a little hope. Again, hope is a good thing. It's not going to get them to where they want to go. Encourage somebody right now. Maybe you got somebody that you say, hey, you need to listen to this because I'm struggling with this, and I need you to have a conversation with me and hold me accountable. That might be even a softer way to share it with somebody else. So if you get this from somebody, don't assume that they are trying to challenge you. You might want to challenge them as well. What if we work together and really tried to maximize our connection with each other? I think it could really help fuel that legacy that we all have. There's greatness in you. Don't leave it to chance. You got to have a plan, yes, but you got to take a step. Go after what you want. And if you will, again, you can leave a legacy. All right. Love you guys. I'll see you on Monday. We're going to talk about winning at work. It's going to be great. We're going to talk about digital declutter on Monday. It's going to be awesome. So I hope you'll join us for Chasing Greatness next week. All right. Take care.